Even Harvard MBAs can't get jobs. What is going on? I'm going to answer that question in today's video. Hello, good morning, happy Monday. Welcome back to MBA Monday. I'm Angela 𝐥𝐢𝐬. I am a career coach. I'm an MBA coach. I'm an MBA myself. I'm a former management consultant at the Boston Consulting Group and a former recruiter of MBAs for the Boston Consulting Group. It is that experience that is going to be most informative of the conversation we're having today, which is all about why it is that graduates from top MBA programs are struggling to find a job right now. And if you stick around to the end, I will let you know how you can get your hands on a huge trove of data about MBA recruiting so that you can use that for yourself on your MBA journey if you decide to apply to business school. In another video I did, I talked about the rules of applying in 2025 and what you need to know if you're applying to business school this year. And in that video, I talked about a Wall Street Journal article where they showed this graph showing that nearly 25% of graduates at Harvard hadn't found a job yet after 3 months. MIT's in the same boat. Stanford's also not looking great. Even the University of Chicago, which is where I got my MBA and which sort of in private MBA circles is acknowledged to have the best career services operation. They have the most robust system to support students in getting their post-MBA jobs. Even Chicago Booth is struggling to place their MBAs. Now, whenever you see a statistic like this, you always want to think in terms of the fact that there are many dynamics at play. It is not one thing that is making it harder for MBAs to find jobs. There are macro trends in the job market. There's the fact that some of the bigger companies that hire more MBAs are maybe in a rough patch, and so they're hiring fewer MBA graduates this year, but that will pick up again next year or the following year because they have a bottomless need for MBA talent. That's companies, of course, like Bain, BCG, McKinsey, and also the banks and the large financial institutions. Those companies will always hire MBAs, and they may hire a few less in a given year or a few more depending on, their current situation. Then there's also the massive layoffs that are happening in the tech industry, and tech is another big hirer of MBA talent. So there are macro trends that are influencing this, that are affecting everybody, and that are also affecting MBAs. There are many other things that are contributing to this number, but I want to talk about one fact that is driving this number that probably most people don't know about, and I don't think I've come across it in the media. If you find an article that talks about what I'm talking about, please share it with me in the comments because I haven't come across this in my own research. Part of this number is being driven by the dynamics of MBA recruiting by large corporations, which is kind of a mysterious process that most people don't understand. And to be honest, I didn't understand it either. Even though I went through that process and got a job with one of those companies, I didn't actually really understand how that process worked until I was a recruiter at BCG. And part of my job was to go around to the top MBA programs and recruit MBAs, hire MBA talent. So I know how that machine works. I know the values of these companies. I know why they go to MBA programs, and I know why they would love to be able to find talent somewhere else instead of on an MBA campus. And so let me explain to you those dynamics, which illuminate a little bit of perhaps why some MBAs are finding it harder to get the jobs that they want. So if you think about how market dynamics work, especially in the 2020s, everything works in terms of platform and audience. Think about advertising, for example. If you want to advertise and you want to reach people that are really capable and focused on business and really ambitious, then you'd probably want to advertise on this channel because our audience is full of people like you who are ambitious, who are driven, who are headed somewhere in their future. That's not a pitch for advertisers because we don't do promotions. But if we did, this will be a good place because if you're watching this video, chances are you are bound for some kind of leadership or success in your future. Now, take, on the other hand, a channel, maybe even with way more subscribers, that's focused on, let's say, gardening, something I also happen to love. If I go to the gardening channel and I'm going to run an ad on a gardening channel, it's going to be a lot less likely that I'm going to catch people who are ambitious, focused on business, want to advance their career. You're going to also find some of those people will be there, but you'll also find, people who are gardeners or people who don't work or all kinds of people who are interested in gardening. So to get the most bang for your advertising buck, you want to go to the place where the most people that you're trying to speak to are aggregated, where they're gathered. And recruiting, hiring is no different. So take companies, again, like MBB, like Bain, BCG, McKinsey, they have a need to hire hundreds of people every year. And firms like this especially are quite agnostic in terms of your background. They just need bright people who are ambitious, who know how to learn, who can be coached, who can really kind of like push themselves hard to thrive under ambiguous circumstances. And those are personality traits and qualities. They're not really skills. So they are willing to hire people from all different backgrounds. They just need to find that personality type, those people who are like really ambitious, care about business, want to learn, can learn fast, are intelligent, are coachable. And it should be no surprise that MBA programs have a high concentration of people like that. That is in some ways kind of what the MBA is all about. It's like you waving your hand and saying, hey, universe, I want to be a business leader. I want to push myself. I want to make a difference. I want to go places. And so a firm like BCG is going to go to MBA programs and be like, holy cow, there are hundreds of people here that fit what we're looking for. We can just come here and invest in on-campus recruiting, and we can grab a bunch of people. And that's going to be way easier for us than trying to go to every college in the world, every other kind of graduate program, advertising on Facebook to get, applications. It's a concentrated pool of talent. And for a very long time, MBA programs have kind of had a monopoly on MBA. Well, obviously they have a monopoly on MBAs, but they have a monopoly on business-minded, ambitious, hardworking people who want to climb, people who want to rise up in their career. And for that reason, companies invested a lot on campus. In my day, the numbers that I heard quoted were something like it costs about $100,000 per hire for a company to recruit people on an MBA campus. And that's because of all the costs involved. They have to fly their employees to campus. They have to host events at restaurants. There's like budgets for all that kind of stuff. There's all the time of their staff that goes into it. It's very expensive for them to court people on MBA campuses and hire them. It still, for a very long time, was cheaper than anything else because of that concentration of talent. But things that are happening in the broader marketplace and with technology are disrupting MBA programs' monopoly on amazing, ambitious talent. Things like the rise of alternative degree programs, the decreasing ROI of the MBA itself, which is causing people to, instead of going to business school, either just try to make a move laterally or, again, pursue some other kind of education that advances their career. That's one side of the equation, which is that now some of the really talented people that would otherwise go to business school are not going to business school. They're going somewhere else. But the bigger factor is the fact that these companies are very, very smart and they use technology to their advantage. So even in my day at BCG, which was many years ago, one of the questions we were always asking ourselves as a recruiting team is, how can we diversify our sources of talent? How can we recruit the best people from all the different places, like law programs, other master's programs, medical school? And then there was this huge category of lateral hires, people that were either working in other consulting firms or other jobs, but who were totally capable and able to jump in as a generalist at BCG and become a stellar consultant without any kind of graduate education or without an MBA specifically. And so over the years, technology has made it easier and easier for these companies to source, recruit, and hire amazing business talent from a variety of places. This includes everything from LinkedIn to other degree programs to other companies. And so the better hirers of MBAs get at pinpointing the abilities that they want and finding talented people who can do the job, the less of a stranglehold MBA programs will have on those recruiters, and therefore the less those recruiters will need to and be willing to invest in on-campus recruiting, and therefore the fewer MBAs they will hire. In the old days, the number one school that placed graduates into Amazon, this was before Amazon became the monopoly that we know it to be today. This was when they were still an up-and-coming, online marketplace and bookseller. The number one program that they recruited MBAs from was not Harvard. It was not Stanford. It was Michigan. Because they saw that they could forge a relationship and recruit talent there affordably in a way that really worked for their needs. And so companies, for better and for worse, are always looking for ways to be more efficient and more cost-effective in achieving their goals. It's expensive for them to hire MBAs. And so if they can get that talent elsewhere, they will. I suspect that this is at least part of why top program graduates are having a harder time getting jobs post-MBA, because the frenzy to hire MBAs is slowly declining and coming back down to earth as companies realize and find ways to source talent from other places. So what does this mean for you? As with everything on this channel, all the news that's interesting is meaningless unless you can take it and use it to achieve your goals. So very much like the other video I made talking about the macro trends this year, my recommendation to you is that if you're planning to go to business school, you need to be smart about how you're going to get the job that you really want post-MBA. And whereas the pressure is on you to prove to schools that you have a job that you're actually going for, that you want, and that is a much more important criterion for admission this year, I think, than ever before. That pressure is even more real when you think about the need for you to proactively build a career you love through the MBA. That's the whole point. Like, there is no point in going to business school unless it's going to help you build a career that you really love. And so that means you need to have a plan. You need to know, am I going to go for one of these big companies that tends to recruit MBAs? And if so, how can I be as competitive as possible for those jobs, given that competition for those jobs is increasing? That's all this really means for you. It means that whereas in the old days, you could sort of like stumble out the door into a consulting job from these top MBA programs, it's now you're going to have to compete a little bit more if that's the job that you want. And if you don't want one of those jobs, and a ton of the people that we coach don't want one of those jobs at a big corporation. They want to chart their own unique path through like startups or through medium-sized enterprises that are growing rapidly, or through NGOs and social impact operations. And this is a totally valid pathway as well, post-MBA. But those jobs are in some ways harder to get because a lot of those companies don't even recruit on campus. That means you're going to have to go out and find those companies, find people to talk to, work your way into an interview, and earn the job on your own merits with the little, MBA banner on your resume, but through your own efforts and your own merits. And for many of you watching this video, that is your correct path, is to chart your own course. When we work with applicants, we not only help them get into programs, we also help them prepare for MBA recruiting. This is a core part of our offering. We call it the YOMO program. It stands for You Only MBA Once. You can actually take that program if you like. Our one-on-one clients get to take that program for free. We want to make sure that if you get into school, you're ready to get the job that you really want, because that's the whole point of going to business school, is getting the job that you really want. So if you're interested in learning more about what we do and how we coach applicants to achieve their goals, not just of getting into school, but of building a career they love, then request a call and you can talk directly with me or a member of my team, and we'll help you figure out the best path for you. The link is in the description below. I'll also pin it in the comments. We'd love to talk to you. I know this is kind of television. This is a one-way communication platform, but we're real people and we will talk to you if you want to talk to us. So head over and request a call. And if you don't want to talk to a human, if you just want to spend a little bit of time reflecting on your goals and your future, we also have a boot camp that is incredibly reasonably priced right now. It's 83% off. And you can take that, and within a few hours or weeks, however long it takes you to go through it, you could do it in a few hours, you will get your answer of what's my future and do I really want and need an MBA? And that's the starting point. And from there, and I'll pin that in the description as well. But once you have the starting point that says, yes, the MBA is going to open doors for me that would not otherwise be open to me. That was certainly my situation when I applied to business school. Like, I've had a life that I never could have had without an MBA. Even when times were tough, I knew that an MBA was the right thing for me. So if that's what you decide, then the question becomes how? How are you going to build that pathway? How are you going to navigate the challenging dynamics of on-campus recruiting? And let me tell you something, this ain't new. They were always challenging. Every client we've ever worked with has said that on-campus recruiting has elements of it that are soul-crushing. It is challenging for everyone. It's going to bring up your imposter syndrome. It's going to put you through the ringer. And so to get through that and come out on the other side with what you really want is on you. And so that's the journey you're on. But hey, isn't that kind of part of the fun of it, is like finding your own way of like earning your way to each next step and being where you want to be because you figured out what you wanted and you went after it. Like, we're here for those of you who are adventurers, who are warriors, who are like out to chart a course. And the MBA it isn't necessarily the right step for all of you, but it can be an incredible propeller of success on that pathway. So I said that at the end, I was going to give you a way to get your hands on a ton of information about post-MBA recruiting that will really help you shape your path. And that is our super awesome official post-MBA career placement report. It is free. You can download it at this link right here, mbaprotocol.com/career-report. I think we have a QR code for that as well. Let's see. But it is over 120 pages of analysis that our team did looking at the placement of where graduates from all the top programs went to work after their MBA. This gives you really deep insight into how recruiting works, where people actually go, and which programs give you the most access to the kinds of jobs that you want. That report is free. I hope you'll go download it. If you do that, you'll also then become a free member of our community. You'll get access to all kinds of amazing content as we guide you on your MBA journey. Please check that out. It's going to help you navigate this challenging world we now live in, where even Harvard MBAs can't get a job. But that doesn't mean that you can't get a job post-MBA. We've got all the tools to help you do that if an MBA is on your path. So again, hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, all that stuff. We'll be right back here on MBA Monday, probably next week. See you then. And MBA protocol, and I just drooled on myself. Welcome back to law school. Cut.